Prabhupada just mentioned, who are these misguided educators who are misleading everybody? Who? Maya Aparita Jnana. And who is the other? The Veda-Vada-Ratas. Veda-Vada-Rata. Meaning, who's the Veda-Vada-Rata? Huh?
Those who misinterpret the Vedas.
They misinterpret the Vedas. Thank you. Yeah, they read the Vedas, but they misinterpret the Vedas. The Veda-Vada-Rata and the Maya Aparita Jnana, meaning
those whose intelligence is stolen by
knowledge is stolen by illusion. Yeah. And also then Prabhupada mentions also even the Asura Baba Mashratam, atheists and blasphemers. So particularly the Veda-Vada Rata, what is their nature? What are they trying to do? Veda-Vada Rata, Radhakund, you know? A Veda-Vada Rata, what's he up to?
They give their own philosophy.
Yeah, they have their own philosophy.
Yeah, it is not coming from it.
Well, they've read the Vedas. They say it's coming from the Vedas. They could take it from the Vedas. Actually, Veda-Vada Ratas, they're not only people who are, trying to go to heaven like that. They want to enjoy the material. They want to conquer the material energy. They want to use the material world for their own sense gratification. Modern scientists. Scientists are actually like Veda-Vada Ratas. They want to control and manipulate the world for their own sense gratification. And we see the Veda-Vada Rata tendency in the modern world, even here in India, even here in the countryside. The Veda-Vada Rata influence is there. Pesticides, they give the farmers chemicals to throw everywhere to keep away all these bugs who are eating the crops. The pesticides, the chemicals, the fertilizers, all of these things, these are all coming from Veda-Vada Rata. And then also you've got them doing things like chicken farming. They don't just have a few chickens. They have a whole range of battery hens, and they get all these thousands of little chicks, and they have them fed, and then they're all raised for killing. Similarly with cows. People in the countryside usually they wouldn't eat much meat, but nowadays, even in the countryside everywhere they're eating meat because of the Veda-Vada Ratas that they introduced. How to have all these cows put in a big compound and they keep them all, there's no space, they cannot move, but they feed them all kinds of chemicals to get them big and fat just so they can kill them and then sell the meat. All of these things, exploitation of the animals, exploitation of nature, this is all the Veda-Vada Rata influence. They're not satisfied with what comes naturally. What are the gifts of God? We have to use our technology to get more. It's all greed that we need more. We want more. We want all the people to be able to get food from one little piece of land. The native people have been living naturally off the land for hundreds and thousands of years. But Kali Yuga comes along and you get these Veda-Vada Ratas who get into education, technology, and all of these things, and they develop chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides, and all kinds of slaughterhouses and all horrible things to destroy the world. This is Veda-Vada Rata. This is the influence. You have birth control also. Oh, we have too many people in the world. We should have birth control. We have to have contraception. We have to have abortion. We have to have all these horrible things which are just killing the world. And this is all coming from Veda-Vada-Rata. Actually, one of our devotees, he was in Hong Kong, he told me his sister and her husband, they're doctors. What are they doing? They're researching abortion, how to have better methods of abortion, or better methods of birth control for people. Yeah, this is horrible. This is how they use their intelligence. Prabhupada also mentions in the purport, he talks about countries who spend half of their budget, half of their income on bombs. How to develop their army and build more bombs. This is going on all over the world. Building better guns to kill people. We're becoming more expert in killing.
I'm sorry, Mr. I found a box of like an abortion pill on the back of the Jalanji. Not on the Islam side, on the opposite side. It was a 72-hour pill. You just take it within 72 hours of finding out that you're pregnant to kill a baby.
This is Veda-Vada-Rata. We can thank them for that kind of stuff. No? All of these things. This is Veda-Vada. They're trying to control nature. They don't understand that there is a controller behind nature. We're meant to live in harmony with that controller. But we want to be the controller. We're thinking man will do it. By our technology, by our scientific advancement, we will control everything. Rivers are there. Oh, this river, this is no good. We have to change the shit. We have to build a dam. We have to change this river. We have to do... so many things are going on in nature. Mountains are there. Okay, we'll knock this mountain down. We're going to this mountain. Let's knock it down. These things are all going on all over the world. We need more land. Okay, fill this land, fill this sea level, fill this water up with land, put bricks there. We'll reclaim the land. All of these things are going on. This is the Veda-Vada-Rata, trying to control nature. And what is the Maya Aparita Jnana trying to do? What is he trying to do? The Maya Aparita Jnana, what's he trying to do?
In Bhagavad-Gita, I just remember there was a person that has a lot of knowledge, but doesn't know how to, they don't know how to use it. They're very well educated scientists.
Yeah. But what is he trying? He's trying to become God. The Maya Aparita Jnana is he wants to be God himself. He doesn't just want to control the nature and exploit it. He wants himself become God. That is Maya Aparita Jnana. They want to become, maybe impersonally at least, they want to become God. They will declare themselves as an acharya. So these are the misguided educators. These are the people who are misleading us. Now some of them are innocent. One devotee was talking about one scientific conference which the Bhakti-Vedanta Institute held, and he was telling how they were driving one Nobel Prize winner. It was Dr. Eccles, Dr. John Eccles, very famous man, even among Nobel Prize winners. It's a big name. Dr. Eccles, he had won the Nobel Prize for something. So they were driving him to the airport, and the devotee was talking to him and asking, well, Dr. Eccles, how did you enjoy the conference? And he said, oh yeah, you know what I really enjoyed about the conference? He said, you know what I learned from this conference? He said, I learned that one can be satisfied with a vegetarian meal. He said, I never knew that before. He said, I never thought I could be satisfied with a vegetarian meal. No, he's a big Nobel Prize winner, highly educated. But he didn't know. But when he came to the Bhakti-Vedanta Institute scientific conference, just having vegetarian food, and he was actually seeing how satisfying, how nice it is. So Vedavadharata, he's like that. He's a Vedavadharata, but innocent, and willing to, with proper association and proper cultivation, these people can be changed. This is, of course, a delicate art, difficult thing to do, but some devotees are practicing like that. They're cultivating this art of penetrating these kind of people and trying to give them a better understanding of science and the world and who's behind the world. It's not enough to just understand nature, but we have to understand who's behind the nature, who's behind it all. Looking at the world, understanding the world, the scientists, they're going into so many details, studying grass and studying the earth, but they don't understand where it's all coming from, who's behind it. They know everything about the body, the doctors, they study the body, but they don't know about the living force within the body. Where does the life come from within the body? They don't know about the soul. So we have to teach that. That's the most important part of education. So I wanted to show you quickly this PowerPoint here. It's self-explanatory. You can just read it as I show. Can you all see it? Yeah. Maybe I'll sit down, then you can see it better. Okay. What's the purpose of knowledge? Solution to all problems, right? We do have a lot of problems, so we need solutions. Everybody of knowledge is existing for solving a specific nature of problem. But we'll look at some problems. Here's some problems. Yeah. We got solutions. It's too hot, put in the air conditioner. Right? We want some cold drinks, okay, refrigerators. Transportation, we got cars. Communication, all of these things. We're solving the problems. What are the real problems in life? Okay? Common to all, no one wants it, no one can avoid it. What is it? Yes, right. Birth, old age, disease, and death. Right. Yeah, you can see. These are the real problems. Who can solve these problems? Real education means which enlightens about the real problems. To understand who we are. Knowledge, matter, spirit, controller of both. Then again, the word education, coming from this Latin root, educare, to bring out what is within you. Modern education, spiritual education. Let's compare the two. You can see modern education brings out, what does it bring out? It doesn't bring out anything. Superficial, incomplete, adds to the problems. More education, more problems, more unhappy, more disappointed, more frustrated people. But spiritual education brings about a real transformation, change in character. People become different. Provides pathological treatment to problems. Yeah, we can solve all the problems of the world. The real problem is no Krishna consciousness. Instructions to the pencil. You're holding the pencil in your hand. Your real job lies within you. That which lies within you can make an impact in your life. You can continue to make impact provided you sharpen yourself. You can best perform when handled by an expert. The real job lies within you. Right? We're not the body, we're souls. Nature of the soul, full of bliss and knowledge. That which lies within you can make impact in your life. Great personalities have been sincere seekers of truth. Great personalities. Jesus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mohammed, Socrates, Einstein. Socrates was asked to describe the ideal society. He said it should be vegetarian. The people were all upset. They said, oh, come on. Why? Vegetarian? No, we have to have meat. He said, no, if you have meat, then you'll have to have so many laws, you'll have so many crimes, you'll have so many problems. It all comes where the animals are not properly protected, not properly cared for. That which lies within you can make an impact in your life. Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? What is the purpose of our life? You can continue to make impact, provided you sharpen yourself. So we want to understand spiritual performance. We need guidance. We want spiritual activities. We need to be guided. We need to have somebody to inquire to, somebody to direct us. 8 instructions for students aspiring for success. Right? Big problem. How to give up these things. These are what create the problem. As we heard, in the campuses, very difficult. We should avoid giving attention to caring for personal beautification. Whew. When you walk in a mall or you go in a shopping center, all the shops, nearly all the shops, are just for the skin and for the hair. It's all for the skin and for the hair. People spend a fortune on these things, taking care of their skin and their hair. Indulgence in unrestricted entertainment. Sleeping, doing anything excessively. What do we need? We need association, books, chanting, diet. Hare Krishna. That's one. Where's the other one? This, I want to show you this other one. It was done by students actually in Dubai. And a group of youth coming from devotee families. So they call this presentation is called The Race to Nowhere. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. An interesting statement from Einstein. What are your expectations? We can ask students, what do you expect to get from education? Well, get a degree, you get a job, a good hope for marriage, good future, recognition in society. Is that all that comes with it? Is it really that easy? The following points vary from one education system to another. These are predominant in the Indian education system. In India, structural defects, irrelevant theory, changing theories. Not everyone needs to learn everything. Less focus on development of natural talents and skills. Standardized education, lack teacher-student relationship, neglect of development. And then harmful effects on children. The stress to reach the top, peer pressure, all of these things going on make it very difficult. Well-educated doesn't guarantee anything. 62% of people are well-educated, but 44.4% of people were found unemployed and many underemployed. So there's a lot of unemployed people. Depression, responsible for the lives of 850,000 people a year. Depression rates are highest for the ages of 12 to 24. Alcohol and drug abuse. USA, we wouldn't like to tell you how many people. Then even in Dubai, how UA school kids get their dope. Drug menace assumes frightening proportion in Dubai as children as young as 12 get hooked on mind-bending substances. 93% of boys, 62% of girls are exposed to internet pornography before the age of 18. That is incredible. Suicide, the second leading cause of death among educated young in India. Prabhupada said, I have seen intelligent boys. They go to school and he is spoiled. Yes, spoiled. He learns how to smoke, how to have sex, how to talk nonsense, how to use a knife, how to fight, these things. At least at the present moment, yes, simply slaughterhouse. Some more quotes. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. In the first place, God made idiots. That was for practice. Then he made school boards. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. So the real purpose of education from a Vedic point of view, you want to develop character, we need spiritual training, and there should also be occupation. We should be able to do something. Prabhupada says, education means how to make one Brahmana, how to teach him how to become sense-controlled, mind-controlled, truthful, clean, simple, full of knowledge, how to apply knowledge in practical life, how to know God. First of all, character. It doesn't require how much he has learned A, B, C, D in grammar. No, first of all, character. That is Gurukula living, how to be sense-controlled. Such children will not become hippies or spoiled children. Rather, they will all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Some other quotes, different people. Education needs to concentrate on developing a good heart. Educate people without religion and you make them clever devils. Ways of training children in spiritual and moral values. Spiritual training on weekends. Different programs you can do. ISKCON schools. There are about 28 ISKCON schools all over the world. Not many. We're very short of schools. And the real problem is we're short of teachers. We have a lot of students. We need more teachers. Gurukula. Special features. Training in spiritual topics. Celibacy. Self-control. Simple living and self-sufficiency. Other features of Gurukula training. Individualized. Each person has his own nature, abilities and challenges. Personal attention, guidance and shelter. Firm friendship between teacher and student based on natural respect. And education starts before puberty. What is taught in the Gurukula? You can see the different topics they're teaching. Sanskrit, Vedic scriptures, astronomy, logic, fine arts, martial arts, Ayurveda, architecture, economics, science, all the 64 arts. Some of the devotees, the son of a banker in the Gurukula. Another one, the son of a businessman. You can see they're living simply in their... And then also homeschooling is also a very good thing, better than putting children in the school, is if you can teach them at home. Well respected, widely practiced. Over 2 million children in the U.S. are homeschooled because parents know if they put their children in the school, they will learn so many bad habits. Some benefits. character building, avoid negative influences, give spiritual values, our own culture. Homeschooling children can finish high school at the same time or earlier than public school educated. We have examples. There's this one lady, Aruda Devidasi. She was here before. She came here in Mayapur. She took some classes as a student. Her two sons also, now they're grown up. One of them graduated in Hindu studies, PhD from Oxford. The other one is just finishing his PhD. And they were both homeschooled by their mother. So they're doing very well. One is assistant professor now. He's writing books with Krishna Kshetra Prabhu. We have also vocational training schools. Devotee children can go there and learn how to work, how to use their skills. Studies show 25 of the wealthiest people have tripled their fortune. 68% are in the same industry they started. And here you can see comparative analysis. Modern educated, homeschooling, and Gurukula. Homeschooling and Gurukula are very much preferred to modern education. If we train children by developing and encouraging their propensity to love Krishna, then we shall be successful in educating them to the topmost standard. This is our duty as devotees. We want to make our children, to give them the highest thing. Where is the Ishopanishad? Lesson 5. This one, right? Okay, so oh yeah, it was yesterday. Oh. Where's the one from today? Oh, okay, so we were talking about mantras, these mantras. We were talking about the results of knowledge. In terms of knowledge, we've seen that there has to be a balance between the two. We have to cultivate vidya and avidya. We're not ignorant of the material world. We know the nature of the material world, right? We don't have to go into Maya to know the nature of Maya, but we learn about it. How do you learn about it? Well, one way you can learn about the nature of the material world is by going out and preaching and distributing books. When we go out and meet people, then we have an opportunity to see how much suffering there is in the material world. It's very useful for us to go out and preach and meet people and see how other people are living. Because often we live in the temple or we live in the devotee community all the time, we don't actually see how much suffering there is in the world. We don't see everything what is going on in the world, how miserable people are and how people struggle for their existence. And it helps to give us a greater appreciation for Krishna consciousness. So it's important for us that we do go out and preach. Oh, we want to a balanced program. Huh? You did this. Well, we heard about the balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. There's certainly Srila Prabhupada wanted us that we are aware of the material world, and he wanted that we could also use technology in the service of Krishna, but not that we're dependent on it. We can use it if it's there, but we're not overly dependent on it. Just like Prabhupada explains that before Kali Yuga came, the world was also advanced and they had technology. Prabhupada mentions how Arjuna went to the heavenly planets and they had weapons like the Brahmastra weapon. But they were not infatuated by these things. They didn't worry about these things. They did not think, oh, how wonderful all this is. like people do today. People, oh, wonderful, look at this, oh, look at this, the new mobile phone, look at the new computer, we get so infatuated, the new car, the new this, new that. But in the previous ages, technology, these things, those kind of powers were there. But people were not worried about it because they understood a higher purpose behind life. They understood the need to cultivate spiritual knowledge and to get out of the material world. So Srila Prabhupada certainly, by giving us Krishna consciousness, he's arranged that we do have a very balanced program of both spiritual and material knowledge. From Prabhupada's books, we get a lot of material knowledge. We understand so many things. Okay, then the second part, mantras 12 to 14, describe worship. And it begins again, just as mantra 9 began. Andan tamaha pravishanti. But this time, we're not talking about vidya, we're talking about sambhuti and asambhuti. Sambhuti and asambhuti, meaning, asambhuti means those who are dependent, the demigods. And sambhuti is who is independent, who is not dependent on anyone. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, those engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Still more so do the worshippers of the impersonal Absolute. Those who worship the impersonal Absolute, they get worse than those who worship the demigods. Those who worship the demigods will go where? To the planets of the demigods. Yeah. Prabhupada describes demigod worship. Ishopanishad points out, one who worships the demigods and attains to their material planets still remains in the darkest region of the universe. The whole universe is covered by the gigantic material elements, just like a coconut covered by a shell and half filled with water. Since its covering is all right, the darkness within is dense, and therefore the sun and the moon are required for illumination. What is the problem? What is wrong with demigod worship? It's mentioned in the Vedas. People may argue that, I thought you people follow the Vedas. Demigod worship is mentioned in the Vedas. Why are you condemning it?
It's material, not spiritual. It produces a material result that is temporary, where our spiritual, worshiping Krishna directly, which is the highest platform, will produce a spiritual result.
Okay, the results of the worship are temporary. By worshipping Krishna, you get eternal benefit. Worship of the demigods, how is it described in Bhagavad Gita? Avidhi Purvaka. They do so in the wrong way. They do so in the wrong way. Means they don't. Why is it the wrong way?
Because it is like they are pouring the water on a leaf, as it is been stated, like one should be pouring water on the roots.
Okay. Yes. Prabhu is saying they're not recognizing who is actually the controller. Whatever benedictions are given by the devas, by these demigods, has to be given with the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So we have to recognize the root. He's speaking about when we water the plant, we pour water on the root. But they're worshipping the leaves and branches, independent of the root. We should not go to the officer, government officer, and give a bribe. We should go to the chief man and pay the proper price. Don't just use the back door. That's cheating. Going to the demigods, worshipping other gods. Worship of the demigods, the results are limited and temporary. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasham. Alpamedasham. Done by Prabhupada said, alpa means small, limited intelligence, small brain. medisham, intelligence. So alpa medisham, small intelligence. Prabhupada said one whose brain is like stool. The brain is like stool, so they worship the demigods. Of course, we have to be careful here in Bengal. There's a lot of demigod worship here. All worshipping Durga and Kali and everybody. But that is the understanding. Demigod worship is very popular. Quickly they get results. Why is it in the Vedas? What's the purpose? Why is demigod worship put in the Vedas then? So,
if somebody don't know who is the secret brother, because his process will elevate himself as the mother of ignorance, the mother of goodness.
And then?
Worship Vishnu.
Well, we hope that's the idea. That the people will worship the demigods, and they will see they get results. They worship the demigods, it's in the Vedas, so they follow the Vedas, they worship the demigods, they get some results. Oh, this is good. I got money. I got a wife. We got a kid. We got a son. Like this. People are happy. They worship the demigods to get the results. But then they start to think that the results are temporary. That the money doesn't last forever. That the wife also left me. And the kid grew up and went away. No, what to do? How to get some eternal benefit? But we develop faith in the Shastra, that the Vedas were guiding it. It was working, but it was giving temporary. I want to get something higher. You develop faith in the scripture, faith in the priest who's guiding you, and then we want to get something which is eternal, not temporary. And so in this way, gradually one may come from demigod worship to worship the Supreme Lord. But why waste time? Why do many people that are worshipping the demigods, they never come to Vishnu. They never come to the mode of goodness. Do you think the worshippers of Kali will come to the mode of goodness? They're killing the goats, they're drinking alcohol. Tamal Krishna Goswami described that one professor he had been associating with when he was doing research was coming to Bengal because he was studying, he had been doing some work on translating poems about worship of goddess Kali. And he came over to visit some village in Bengal where they were doing a big Kali festival. And the professor told him how when he got there, he said it was just terrible. He said people were all drunk and they were like mad people, and everywhere, people, there was killing animals and blood and alcohol everywhere, and they didn't take any care of this one man coming from America, the professor. Nobody took any care of him, nobody received him. They had problem for accommodation, and then he came to Mayapur and everything was so nice, and he saw the big difference. He could see, wow, what a difference, how these people are and how the Vaishnavas are. It was such a big change. And so we don't want people to just think that, I have to worship the demigods and then I'll come to worship Vishnu. But it's mentioned in the Vedas, the idea that people would hopefully develop faith, but it doesn't work like that. There's not enough time. We don't have enough time to do all that. We have to immediately worship Vishnu. We have to immediately come to the mode of goodness. We can't go through the yoga ladder. Karma kanda. Everybody will stay on the karma kanda platform. Nobody will ever come to karma yoga. They just want to enjoy material benefits. And so we have to go immediately to the top. We have to immediately take up bhakti yoga. So we've got the demigod worshippers, and then you've got also the impersonalists, even worse. The ignorant pseudo-religionists and the manufacturers of so-called incarnations who directly violate the Vedic injunctions are liable to enter into the darkest region of the universe because they mislead those who follow them. These impersonalists generally pose themselves as incarnations of God to foolish persons who have no knowledge of Vedic wisdom. If such foolish men have any knowledge at all, it is more dangerous in their hands than ignorance itself. So very heavy words from Prabhupada. You know, Prabhupada's mission, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini, to defeat this impersonalism and voidism. And many, Madhva Acharya also, he attacked also these impersonalists. The greatest danger, because they mislead the mass of people, thinking that we can all become God, or they're God. This is actually, of course, very much Prabhupada's mood and mission in his writing, in his preaching. Even before he went to America, Prabhupada had this mood to attack the impersonalists, because Prabhupada saw how much damage it is doing to the world, how bad it is. From Mantra 12, Prabhupada writes, "These rogues are the most dangerous elements in human society. They escape punishment by the law of the state. They cannot, however, escape the law of the Supreme, who has clearly declared in the Gita that envious demons in the garb of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest region of hell." We were talking yesterday, what happens to these people. It's in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, 19 and 20. Krishna talks about those people who are of the nature of demons and the garb of religious propagandists. They enter into the darkest region of hell. They get the heaviest punishment because they're posing as authorities. And when you pose as an authority and mislead the people, then that is the most serious offense. Just like if a policeman is found to be corrupt or to do some crime, then he will be given a greater punishment than an ordinary criminal. Because he's a policeman, he's expected to show a better example. So in the same way, these impersonalists who mislead people, who encourage people in the art of sense gratification, very serious problem. In these purports, Prabhupada talks about two main philosophies. One is the idea that all the paths lead to the same goal. How do we defeat that?
Where do we see that in the real world?
What's the verse in the Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada would quote? Yeah, that the worshippers of the demigods go to the planets to the demigods. The worshippers of the forefathers go to the planets to the forefathers, and devotees of Krishna will go to Krishna. You get your destination according to your worship. It's not all one. Krishna also says, as you surrender to me, I reward you accordingly. It's not all one. It's not all the same. And the other thing which Prabhupada writes about in the purports is the importance people give to social welfare work. He talks, for example, about Vivekananda. That Vivekananda, very famous in Bengal, became a sannyasi. But what did he do after he became a sannyasi? He opened a hospital. Prabhupada said, what is this? What kind of sannyasi is this? Sannyasi opens a hospital. That is for the body. We're meant to, sannyasi's business is to treat the soul, to care for the soul, not to care for the body. And so, very common in Calcutta, many people come from foreign countries and they go to Mother Teresa. They want to go to the place, they've all heard of Mother Teresa, and they want to go there and help in her program, feeding the poor. Just like also a lot of Mayavadis, they have the program, they say, God, see God in the poor man, right? They call it Daridra Narai. They say that the poor man has become God. Prabhupada said, what? This is nonsense. How is it God is a poor man? God is Bhagavan. He's not a poor man. But this is what ordinary people, sentimental people, they become misguided. They think, oh, very good work. Oh, they're doing very nice work. Mother Teresa's they're feeding them meat and fish and eggs every day. Is it good work? Just feeding the poor people? That is not real welfare work. That is not helping the world to advance. Actually, some devotees did go there years ago. They went there when Mother Teresa was alive. They went there and they asked her, they said, we will work with you. We will distribute vegetarian prasad. She said, no. She said, I'm doing this myself. She wanted to do her own thing. We were offering her the chance. She said, well, let us come. We will prepare vegetarian. We can distribute. We just, no. Yeah. Because, these people themselves are not vegetarian. They don't understand these things. But this is very common. People are very sentimental. They think, oh, very nice. God is a poor man. They think, what they say, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. Service to God is service to man. This is a common saying. This is nonsense. This is bogus. There's a difference. Service to man and service to God. Very different. You think you're serving man just by feeding some... Is that service to God? Just by feeding some poor man in the street? We can give the poor. We don't only just feed the poor. Prabhupada said, the rich are also poor. The rich also need prasadam. We need to give prasadam to everyone without distinction. We don't just go to the poor people. We don't just go in the poor areas. We give for everyone. Important. Real spiritual activities are done for the benefit of the soul, not for the body. So Prabhupada, in these purports, is mainly preaching about these things, these two mistaken ideas, that service to man is service to God. It's not. God is a person. We have to serve Him. And you don't serve Krishna just by serving one man. And not all the paths lead the same way. Sri Ishopanishad confirms these pseudo-religionists are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after the completion of their spiritual master business, which they conduct simply for sense gratification. So this is a very heavy warning coming from Sri Ishopanishad. People are practicing religion, but they're not following the dhiras, right? You have to hear from the dhiras, it mentions. You have to hear from the dhiras. Who are the dhiras? Who can control the mind and the senses? Dhira. We have to hear from these people, the self-controlled person who have understood the difference between the body and the soul. Who have heard. How does one become a dhira? How do you become dhira? Huh? Yeah, you have to hear from a person who is a dhira. You have to hear from Krishna. Krishna is the biggest, the greatest dhira. Krishna is the most self-controlled, the most perfect person. We hear from him. We hear from Bhagavad Gita, and we hear from his devotees. We hear from these people, and then this way, then we can understand. But if you go to like Kumbh Mela or something, you'll see they're giving out pamphlets. They say, "Come to our tent. the Yuga Avatar is there. He'll be giving a class tonight, So many self-proclaimed incarnations of God. They're all there at Kumbh Mela, many. So and they're all in the business of spiritual master, just for their own sense gratification. Okay, so we've been talking about these things. Discussed the statement from Mantra 9 regarding the advancement of education. The advancement of education to a modern audience. That we want to be sensitive to their feelings. That the modern audience, they have a great respect for education. And we have to be a little sensitive to them in presenting our statements about modern education. We want them, the main point is that we want them to understand that there's also a spiritual aspect to education. And if we have just simply education of the body without any knowledge of the soul, then it is useless. That it will not be, it will be misused. It will be a waste of education. The education will be incomplete without having a proper understanding of the spiritual aspect of life. But Prabhupada always said, where is the educational institute which is teaching that? There's nowhere. Prabhupada went to MIT. He asked them, what is the difference between the body and the soul? What is the difference between a living man and a dead man? And they could not give satisfactory answer. So many speculations. They have no understanding of the soul. And so, in presenting our statements about education, we want to be a little cautious, try to encourage the audience to appreciate the spiritual aspect of life. Otherwise, they may take immediate make opposition. And then we also spoke about how Prabhupada has given us a balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. Examples from your own experience. Well, simply by reading Prabhupada's books and by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we get a lot of practical knowledge. We get references from Shastra. From the Shastra also, we see in Bhagavad Gita, there's material and spiritual knowledge. Krishna says, don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Krishna says, lust, anger and greed are doors into hell. We learn to avoid these things. We learn about sense control. Before we came to Krishna consciousness, we didn't think about these things. We didn't think about controlling our senses. We couldn't imagine it. And we never worried about what's sinful or not sinful. But we learn all of this from Krishna consciousness, from our training in the ashram and studying Prabhupada's books, practicing the lifestyle of a devotee. Then we get a lot of understanding and experience. We may not stay and continue to stay in the ashram, but when we go out of the ashram, then that knowledge is always with us. We never forget. And we can always remember the advantages of that lifestyle. We spoke also how we shouldn't be proud or infatuated with our own success in studying Bhakti-Shastri. We want to offer respects to the devotees, even though they may not have studied Bhakti-Shastri. They may not have had the opportunity to study Bhakti-Shastri, but just simply because of a person's age, he will have a lot more experience. somebody who has been a householder for many years and brought up a family, then they have a lot of experience of life. Somebody who's worked in the world and been in a corporate industry, had a big position in that, they've had a lot of experience, they've learned a lot. They may not have studied the Shastras so well, but the experiences which they've had in life should be respected. And we can definitely learn a lot from such people. So it's important for us, sometimes you get people finishing Bhakti-Shastri, 17, 16 years old, really young, but they shouldn't think they know everything. We also encourage people who do Bhakti-Shastri that once you've studied it, then you go and teach it. And once you've taught it 3, 4, 5 times, then you start to really get to know it. You don't get tested very much on it here. But when you go out and teach it, then it will really test. And then also we've just been speaking about Prabhupada's mood and mission, about demigod worship and impersonalism, and how dangerous these things are, how people become infatuated with them. How many demigods are there? 33 crore, huh? Yeah. So can you worship every demigod? So just worship the root. Worship Krishna and all the demigods are pleased. All the demigods bestow their blessings on you. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any final questions? Yes, Prabhu?
I wanted to ask something about Krishna application. The modern world and education, there is a statement that everything is relative. Everything is relative. So from the point of view of Ishopanishad, what can we say in the arguments, and we're presenting our knowledge, but they want to relativize our knowledge. They're also saying, okay, this is your point of view, you're living like that. So you have your point of view, we have our point of view. You're saying everyone is conditioned, so that means that you are also conditioned. So you're seeing the world through your eyes. That means that also this is relative.
Well, what we could say is that we're not presenting the world through our own eyes, but we're presenting the world as it's described by the acharyas, by the dhiras, by the self-controls, by the self-realized souls. We're presenting the world as it's seen by the Mahabhagavat devotees. The vision of the Mahabhagavat devotee was being described. It's not our vision.
Then they're saying that this is still subjective. They're saying like that. This is still subjective. They have their own vision. They doesn't have standards. In civilization, we need to have standards for knowledge, for education, for moral values. But they deny all standards, especially people from philosophical colleges and the psychiatrists and such, people like this.
Yeah. Then you're wasting your time trying to preach to them. Better to just say, okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. Better to find people who are submissive, who are willing to hear.
Actually, they are envious.
Yeah, it's all. Ultimately, everybody's envious of Krishna. Yeah. They want to continue with their sinful activities. They don't want to be restricted. They want to go on with all their sinful activities. So they don't want to accept what your presentation. And that gives them the right to go on with their sense gratification. People say, one of the Huxleys, famous family in England called Huxley. There was Aldous Huxley, Thomas Huxley, different people. So one of them, he said, Confessions of an Atheist. If I believe in God, I'm automatically bound to follow principles of morality. So better I don't believe in God. Morality means dealing properly with money and sex. That is morality. Money and sex. That's what it comes down to. Deal properly with it. But people don't want to be moral. People want to use money for their own sense gratification, and the highest sense gratification is sex. This is how they're thinking. And so Kali Yuga, we don't waste time arguing with people. Yeah, you always get, they don't want to hear. They don't want to accept. So, no point in talking to them. Give them prasadam, chant Hare Krishna. Give them the holy name and prasadam. There was one boy coming to the temple in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and Prabhupada was talking to him, and Prabhupada was arguing, and devotees were all sitting listening, and this boy was arguing everything Prabhupada would say. The boy would argue back, and Prabhupada kept talking with him and giving arguments one after another. The boy wouldn't accept. But then the next day, they saw the boy in the temple room. The kirtan was going on. The boy was in the kirtan. He was dancing. Prabhupada said, see? He said, kirtan is more powerful than preaching. Kirtan is the real preaching. You give people some kirtan, prasadam, then they really benefit. They can progress. But talk philosophy to them, difficult for them to understand.
Peter and Maharaj said that a lot of people, if they say everything is relative, that's an absolute statement they're making. So even philosophically, if they really say something like that, they're not educated. That's an absolute statement. Everything is relative, it's an absolute statement.
So while they are making this statement, they are negating themselves.
Yes, the statement's relative, so we should accept it, therefore.
They accept themselves with authority.
Yes, Prabhu?
When you are presenting Maharaj Manya, you said BA means Bachelor of Avidya.
What? MA, Master of Avidya. PhD. Well, we said plow department. Plow. Yeah. The plow, plow the fields, no more PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, no more significant than being plow department. The same. Any other point? Okay, so we'll finish off tomorrow. We'll have a short class tomorrow, I think. Thank you. Hare Krishna.